Hello everyone, Cap here, and welcome to my Mechabellum Beginner's Guide. With the most recent sale on Steam, a lot of new players seem to have picked up the game, and there has not been a beginner guide for this game in a long time, so I thought I'd give it a go. Let's start out with the very basics here. So first up, when you load up the game, I think this is the first screen you see, you need to select a division. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, it is mainly about having a chat, the general public chat in your language. So 501 is English, 301 is mainly German, 401 Russia, 101 is French, but also a lot of other nationalities, and 201 is Chinese. So yeah, if you care about public chat at all, probably pick your language, otherwise it really doesn't matter, pick whatever you want. All players can play each other, so division doesn't matter for matchmaking or anything like that. Next tab here, just the general starting screen, I think, when you log in after you selected your division. This is basically just for general navigation to the most important things, I guess. But let's just go through the tabs up here. Multiplayer, next one, probably the most important one, because this is where you want to play, at least after you finished some very basics about the game, which we will get to in a moment here. But here is where you can queue up in PvP, so against other players. At the top right here, start, you can select 1v1 or 2v2 or both and find a match, and then you will find someone over time. You can also click here if you want to play with a friend and invite your friend from a Steam list and queue up together to play 2v2 together. Also up here, leaderboards for combat power, MMR and insight. Combat power and MMR both are kind of indications of how strong or how skilled or whatever you want to call it a player is, so the higher the number the better. Also, if you click on the leaderboards, you will get leaderboards for your division at first. So I picked 501, so I get the 501 leaderboard here, only 501 players. However, you can always click up here, World Leaderboard, and then you see everyone. And this list here, these are all games that are happening right now. And if you want to spectate one, you can just click spectate. And at the top of the list usually are a lot of high ranked players. So the higher the number here, this is combat power, the better probably the players are overall. And yeah, if you just click here spectate, you can spectate some other players who are really good at this game, and maybe you can learn a thing or two from what they are doing here. Next tab is solo, and probably maybe the one tab that you want to go first to after you start out with this game, because in here is, for example, the Commander Academy, which is basically the tutorial for this game. It's not all that extensive, but it will get the job done to just give you the very basics of this game. So this is where you should start. Go to the Commander Academy and do all of these. It will give you a general idea of what this game is about and how to place units, buy units, how to counter, how to level up units, tech units, and all that stuff. All the very basics. So go through all of these and you will have the basics down. The next relevant tab up here for you is probably the practice tab, because here you can play against an AI. And there are different difficulties. Let me pick Insane here, because I've already played this game quite a lot. And now you get thrown into a game against an AI, and this is how it starts. You get to select one of these 4 starts here. Each start loadout is defined by starting HP, initial HP up here, then the specialist and 2 units. So for example, this one on the left has 4200 starting HP, is cost control specialist. I believe there are 10 or so, or even more starting specialists. Cost control is one of them, for example, and this one gives an extra 100 supply every round, but the attack of all units is reduced by 13% and the HP is reduced by 13%. So your units are kind of weaker, but you have more income, so you have more money to spend. And these are your 2 starting units, Fangs and Phoenixes. This one, Giant Specialist. Giants can be unlocked for free. Quick Supply Specialist, obtain 200 supplies in the first round. And Elite Specialist, obtain an extra 50 supplies in the first round. And able to immediately recruit level 2 units. Alright, let's just pick one here. For example, Giant Specialist. Okay, this is the game now, the actual game. This is what it looks like. So this lit up half here is my half of the battlefield. This is where I can place my units. So these are my units that I'm starting with, as defined by my starting loadout that I just picked. So I picked a Giant Specialist with Sledgehammers and Marksman. And you can just click these units and move them around freely and place them wherever you want in the lit up area here. If you are very new to this, you can always just use recommended formation. This will give you a formation for these units that you are starting with and just place them in that way. They are usually okay to go with. If you have no idea how to place your units, you can always pick one of these. And placement of units is extremely important in this game because, for example, this marksman does have long range and deals quite a bit of damage when it hits, but it is quite squishy, so it dies pretty easily. For example, you do not want this one in front, because once it gets attacked by all these units, it will die very quickly, and yeah, with the unit being dead, it cannot deal damage anymore, obviously, so you do want the marksman in this case behind your tanky units, which are in this case the sledgehammers. So sledgehammers should be in front of the marksman and tank damage so that the marksmen stay alive for as long as possible, ideally. Next up, down here, these are the two units that I already have unlocked because these are the units that I started with, so marksmen and sledgehammers. But you can unlock one other unit type each turn. So there are different types of units. The first four here are basically tier 0 units, let's call them, because they are free to unlock. All of them are free, so cost 0, cost 0, cost 0. And they are the bread and butter kind of this game, the basic units, including probably the two most important units in the game, maybe, Fangs and Crawlers, because they are chaff, that's what people call them. Basically units that are there to distract your enemy units. So in a way, they also tank damage, quote unquote tank. They don't have a lot of HP, but they can distract the enemy units and catch some hits here and there, so that all your other units can actually deal damage in peace. So for example, what a lot of players do is they get crawlers very quickly, round 1 usually, and buy 2 packs, or already have 2 packs because they start with crawlers. You can also have a starting pack with crawlers. But the first crawlers oftentimes go here, behind these 2 towers. If you put the crawlers like this, and by the way, you can change the orientation, so horizontal or vertical, with middle mouse button. And you put them vertical like this behind the tower, and this way, when they run forward, they will split around this tower. And when they split, they just create space in between each other, and they are harder to take out with AoE damage, so area of effect damage. This way, they are alive for as long as possible and are annoying for as long as possible. So this is usually a good start, to have crawlers behind the towers like this. And yeah, my opponent here, by the way, is you can hover over this symbol on the top, in the top right here, to see what your opponent's starting specialist is. And my opponent here is Heavy Armor Specialist, which means all their units do have 17% increased HP. And my opponent also, I can see their starting units, they are starting with sledgehammers as well, just like I am, as well as Fangs here, which is the other chaff unit in the game. So crawlers are melee and they are fast, and Fangs are range and they are slow. But both of these packs do have a lot of units in them, so there are a lot of targets to potentially tank some hits Once you are done with your turn here, you click End Deployment at the top, and then the battle will start, and you basically lean back and watch. Though, don't lean back too far, because you actually want to make sure you don't miss what's happening. Because from what is happening, how the units engage with each other, and who's winning what fights and everything, you want to learn from that so that you can make adjustments to your units and to your positioning and everything, so that you can win better the turn after. But yeah, for now, let's do it like this. Also, units, by the way, I can position all of these now, but once they are placed and once I click End Deployment, they will all stay in these places until the end of time. So you cannot move them anymore. There are a couple of specific ways, for example, an item on a unit so that you can move it around again, but in general, once you place a unit, it cannot get moved anymore after you finish your deployment phase. So yeah, let's just for now start this and see what's going on here. Click End Deployment. My opponent also finished deployment, and now the units are just walking towards each other and yeah, getting each other killed basically. Also my crawlers, they all split up behind the tower and were spread out across the entire board. They did distract for quite a bit, which was very good. However, my opponent does have a ton of fangs here. And my clear for these fangs is not that great. I only have a couple of sledgehammers which attack quite slowly. And they are not the best at taking down these fangs here. So I will need to address that in the next turn. That's now something I want to take into consideration. Okay, these fangs are all alive for way too long because I don't really have the best damage for those. And I need something else here. Now, in between rounds, you get the choice of 4 different cards here. They can be items, so this is an item, this is an item, and this is an item, or some other sort of modification. And this one, for example, Strike Specialist, decreases the teleportation time required for strike units deployed at the enemy's rear by 50%. Okay, what this means, for example, now, starting round 2, this also is lit up. This area here and this area here. These are the flanks. And you can place units in the flanks. So also the same goes for my opponent, by the way. My opponent could place units here now and here. And with this card, if you place a unit in the flank here, it will need time to spawn in first. It basically gets beamed in or whatever. And it takes like, I'm not fully sure, like 7 seconds or something to basically load in. And while it does that, it's very vulnerable and can get attacked, but cannot attack itself. And with this card, for example, this beam in time will be decreased by half. But let's pick a different item here. For example, the laser sight. So laser sight is now an item that I just picked, and that does increase the range of units by 35% and the range of the unit that it is equipped on only. So I need to equip this item on one of my units on the board. So sledgehammers or marksmen here, I cannot equip it on crawlers because crawlers do not have a range attack, so it does not work on them. And yeah, let's just put it on these sledgehammers. So you hover it and just left click on the unit, and now it's equipped on these sledgehammers. They have the item here now. And now they have a range of 130. You can see the numbers here, down here. And for example, the standard sledgehammer without the item, this one, does only have 95 range. So yeah, this one is now 130 because of the item. Also, while we are at this, here are in general the stats of the unit. And maybe one of the most important ones that you want to look at is the speed here. You don't always need to look at this, especially once you do have the experience with the game, you will not need to look at this anymore. But for starting out, it's quite nice to know how fast units are. So this one is 7 meters per second. Crawlers are 16 meters per second, so a lot faster. And marksmen are 8 meters per second. This matters because you want the units to engage in a certain order. So you want the crawlers to come in first because they are there to distract. They are my chaff. And for them to get in first, but also not all by themselves. So if I put the crawlers at the very front here, they will just run in and die before the rest of my units get into battle. So that's why the crawlers are actually the furthest back of my units right now, but they will still get into battle first because they move so quickly. They will overtake all my other units and be at the front first. Other stats here are, this is the HP, the second number, this is attack, the range, and yeah, the rest is attack interval, splash, and what it can target. Marksman, for example, can target air and ground units. It's my only unit right now that can attack air units. Alright, now let's check out what other units we can unlock. So last turn we talked about these 4 units because these are the tier 0 units that you can unlock for free. Next up, let's say tier 1 units because they are all 50 to unlock. So Rhino, Wasp, Mustang, Steel Ball, Stormcaller, Sledgehammer I already have unlocked, and Phoenix. These all cost 50 to unlock. Then there are 3 units that cost 100. The Hacker, the Wraith, and the Scorpion. And then there are 4 giants and 1 super giant, it's called. So the 4 regular giants, Fortress, Vulcan, Melting Point, and Overlord. And the War Factory is the super giant. These all usually cost money to unlock, but for me it says unlock costs 0. Usually this costs 200 to unlock, but for me it is all 0 here because I am Giant Specialist, and that's the single purpose of my starting specialist here. Giant units no longer consume supplies when being unlocked. So yeah, I can unlock these for free here. And let's unlock a Vulcan. Now I have it unlocked. I can actually not buy it right now because it costs 400 and I only have 350 credits available. What I can do, this is not something I advise you to do, but I just want to show off the Vulcan. Here at the tower, you can buy, for example, Field Recovery, which is an active skill that you can use once a round. I buy it, now I have it unlocked, and now it's up here. So with this, I can sell units that are on the board. For example, I can sell these sledgehammers here for 200. And now I get 200 credits back, which is the full value of the unit, by the way. You do not sell units at a discount or anything. You get the full value back. And yeah, so with the full credits for the sledgehammers back, which costs 200, now I have enough credits to buy a Vulcan here. And let's pick this up. Vulcan, very good unit to deal with chaff units. It has some AoE damage and fire and attacks very quickly, and it will instantly take down all the fangs that are getting in range, for example. That's why it's good here. And as I mentioned last turn, fangs are kind of not getting dealt with quickly enough. And with this Vulcan though, this should change. Something I have not talked about yet are these 3 things here. These are all devices that you can place on the battlefield. I don't have enough credits for all of these now, but I do have enough credits for this in the middle. Then the one in the middle is called a sentry missile. I can place it anywhere on my half of the battlefield, and you can see it has a range, so the outer circle there. And once an enemy unit gets into that range, this sentry will attack it or will fly towards it and explode in a somewhat big radius and take out whatever is there, or rather deal 5,000 damage wherever it lands. And for example, these sledgehammers do have not even 4,000 health. So when this sentry hits these sledgehammers, they will all die. The other two here, this is a barrier. You can place a barrier around your units that protects them for 40,000 health. And if it doesn't die, by the way, this barrier, it will fully heal and still be on the board the round after. So you can get value out of this barrier for multiple turns, potentially. Sentry is just one use, so once it activates, it's gone. And Missile Interceptor can intercept some missiles of some certain units, for example Stormcallers, but yeah, let's not get into that right now. And yeah, let's see this round now with the Vulcan on the board, which should be very good against all these fangs here. Also, by the way, Vulcan being a giant, giants are big. And not only size-wise, but also HP-wise. So this one does have almost 39,000 HP. For example, a sledgehammer here on my side does have 3,300. So this Vulcan is very tanky. It can tank a lot of hits. And yeah, it will be able to basically tank everything my opponent has, as well as take down all those units, especially the small ones. Okay, this changes things though. This is a counter to my Vulcan now. Steel balls are a giant killer. They lock on and they deal beam damage that ramps up over time. And yeah, when they lock on to the Vulcan, they will kill the Vulcan within a couple of seconds. Yeah, now they are locked on and the damage ramps up and dead. So I got countered here by the opponent with these steel balls now, and now I need to do something about the steel balls. Also, these steel balls do have one of the 4 tags. Each unit does have 4 tags in its loadout, and you need to buy the tags in battle to have them unlocked. And once you unlock them, they apply to all types of those units. So, my opponent here, for example, has 2 steel balls, and once this tag was picked, it did apply to both of these steel balls. Same goes for if I click this marksman and pick any of these tags, for example, it will apply this tag, whatever I pick, to all 3 of my marksmen, and also to all future marksmen. So if I buy more marksmen, they will also spawn with that tag already enabled. Okay, let's check the cards here. Extended Fortress range. Fortress is a giant, so I could get that. Deployment module is one of the items that you can equip on a unit to move it, even once it was placed. So all of these units I cannot move anymore, as I said earlier. But if I pick deployment module and equip it on one of these units, I can then freely move that unit again. Elite hacker, I can recruit level 3 hackers, and anti-interference module. Okay, let's pick the extended fortress range here. So fortress range increased but has less HP. And since I just picked that card, let's also unlock the fortress. So fortress is a giant, as I said, and it's free because I'm giant specialist. So let's unlock it for free. And giants cost 400 to buy. I can buy 1 fortress right now with my 600 credits, so let's do that. And it's not necessarily the best counter here, but just want to show off some stuff here. And placing the fortress does have pretty good damage, so it can possibly help take down these steel balls here. Also, another very basic and very important thing here. This yellow arrow above these units means they can get leveled. So there's a leveling system in this game. If you hover over the number here, you can see, for one, it's level 1, that's why the 1 here, but also XP 304 out of 650. This means if this unit gets 650 total XP, it will be full on XP here and can get leveled from level 1 to level 2. and doing so will double its stats, both attack and HP. So for example, this one is now full on XP, does have 800 of 800, and I can upgrade it, so let's do that. And as you can see here, just hovering over it, on the left it says plus 3362 HP and plus 608 attack, which is basically doubling its current stats. So let's press that, and now it is upgraded. Now it's level 2. And now it can level again, by the way. Now it is at 0 XP, and now it will start gaining XP again this turn. And units gain XP by killing other units, or also by killing these towers here. Speaking of towers, there are 2 here, and they have different purposes. For one, you do want to protect them, because if they die, you get a debuff. For... does it even say anywhere? I don't know the number of seconds, but let's say 7 seconds or something. You get a debuff for that duration, and your units will take double damage during that time. All of your units will take double damage during those 7 seconds of tower debuff, and they will also deal only 10% of their original damage. So they are so much weaker during tower debuff. That is why you want to protect your towers. There are some strategies that directly want to move towards your tower as quickly as possible and take down your tower. And then when all your units are tower debuffed, your opponent's units will just kill all your units pretty easily. So you do want to make sure you cover your towers. That's why this positioning also, by the way, I do have units here and I do have units here. So you do want units near your towers, near both your towers. Okay, now right one is called the Research Center. Here you can buy permanent things. For example, I already bought the Field Recovery, which is permanent. Here I still have this skill and I can use it once per turn now. I unlocked it once here for 100 and I can use it every turn now. Same goes for Sticky Oil Bomb. It puts oil on the ground, which slows units. It's also a skill that I can use every 3 rounds. Cooldown here says 3 rounds. This one is a mobile beacon that you can use to move your units or let your unit move in a certain path. So you can kind of manipulate. Let me just show you. I would prefer to spend my 100 credits on something else, but I just show you. Let's unlock this for 100. And now I have this and I can click on it and use it. You place it on the unit that you want to move. So this one, for example, and now you can move it in any direction. So I can make it move over here and then over here. So now at the beginning of the round, it will not just move straight up like it would normally, but instead it will move from here to here and then to here. So you basically can tell whatever units are in the starting circle here to go wherever you want. So can also do this. And now also the marksman is affected, by the way, because it's also in the starting circle. And yeah, they will move this path. It's not really good here or necessary or anything. I just wanted to show you what this does. It's not something you want to unlock early on, or probably in general. You only want to unlock this once you're a little bit more experienced with this game. The other tower upgrades here. This one is a permanent attack increase of 10% for all your units. So this is quite important. You don't want to get it too early, but I don't know, like round 5, 6 or something, you probably want to pick it up. As well as this one, defense 15% more HP on your units. So yeah, both of these permanent upgrades to all your units on the board and all future units as well. So you do want to pick these up probably at some point. And then there's also Fortification, which just adds HP to the tower. So as I said, once the tower dies, you get a tower debuff for 7 seconds or so. and you don't want that, and you can protect your tower also by giving it more HP. Right now it does have 3400. If you press this once for 100, it will have 20,000 more HP and will take quite a while longer to die. Same goes for the other tower, so you can upgrade it on this tower and you can also upgrade it on the other tower. The other tower, otherwise, is for temporary stuff. So first up, rapid supply here gives you 200 supplies extra this turn, but you get 300 supplies less next turn. So this is basically taking a credit and paying back more next turn, so basically paying back with interest. You do not want to click this too often because it will wreck your economy and overall you just get less supplies if you just keep clicking this. You probably want to click this if you have a crucial turn. So for example, you want to buy a certain tech that will help you out so much in one round and you are just 200 credits off. Then you just press this and actually pick up that tech or pick up that certain unit that you couldn't afford otherwise. If it's very crucial and if it will definitely help you win the round, you might want to click this and get the extra credits to use. Next up, mass recruitment. You can place only 2 units a turn. So right now I only placed 1 unit, this one fortress here, because I didn't have credits. We can just sell something. Let's sell one of these marksmen. Now I have 100 credits again. And I can buy another crawler, for example. Now I'm at the limit, so I bought 2 units. I bought this fortress and I bought crawlers, so I cannot buy any more units, even if I had the credits. You can only buy 2 a turn. However, with mass recruitment here, you can buy 1 additional one, but it costs you 50. So I can spend 50 to buy a 3rd unit a turn. Next up, elite recruitment. Level 2 units can be purchased in this round. Costs 100, but you will be able to recruit level 2 units. For example, like this sledgehammer. I could buy a level 2 sledgehammer like this right away from the shop down here. It will be more expensive though, so level 2 unit will cost, instead of 200 here, it will cost 300. Because that's the full cost. You buy the unit for 200, and if you would upgrade it to level 2 regularly, it will cost 100, so it will be 300 in total. Next up, enhanced range. It will increase the range of all units by 15 for the round. So it's temporary, just for the round. It's all just for the round. 15 more range can be very impactful, especially later on in fights. And high mobility increases the movement speed of all units by 3 for this round and costs 50. So yeah, everything just moves faster. So left tower, temporary buffs. Right tower, permanent buffs and active abilities as well that you have permanently. Alright, let's just go here. I'm not sure this is enough what I have here. Fortress does help because it's a heavy hitter with almost 7,000 attack. Will deal quite a lot of damage to these steel balls, but let's see if that's going to be enough here. These steel balls are now level 2. Level 2 units standard look blue, do have blue color. That's how you can easily see the level of units. Level 3 units and higher will be orange. Fortress dealing some damage, slowly but surely taking down the steel balls. Might be barely enough here. Yeah, steel balls go down. Now there's still a lot of trash here with the fangs and a couple of sledgehammers, but Fortress does have a lot of HP as well. So it's tanking all of this for quite a while here, as you can see, but it's going down over time. It's just too much. It's still alive here. By the way, up here, speed up just popped up. If you reach the 70-second mark up here, the timer, the speed up button will pop up and you can speed up. Just make it faster. Everything moves twice as fast or something. So it doesn't take forever. But yeah, still a bit too much here, these fangs. more cards, and these are all active abilities, all of them, all 4. So Ion Blast, Orbital Bombardment, Electromagnetic Impact, or Acid Blast. Let's pick Orbital Bombardment here. And again, all active skills are up here on the left. Orbital Bombardment, click it, and I can place it here. What it does is launches 15 guided, I'm not sure if they are guided, they are kind of random, let's say random missiles at the target area, dealing 2500 damage per missile. So yeah, 15 random impacts in this area will come down, and each impact will deal 2500 damage. Which is quite good against small stuff like this, like these fangs, because they will easily get one shot if they get hit. And that might help me out here quite a bit. Alright, now, this fortress here did kill a lot of steel bolts, and that's why it can level. It did acquire a lot of XP, and it can get leveled, so let's level it. Boom. Now it's level 2 and has a ton of stats, a lot of damage, a lot of HP. And let's also look at the tags here and maybe pick one of the tags. So, for example, Rocket Punch. Fortress launches his fists. So I'm not going to go over all the tags here, because there are, I don't know how many tags on each unit, potentially, and can have a look at those in your spare time. I can show you in a moment where you can find all the tags to look at, but for now let's just keep it here. Rocket Punch. Fortress launches his fist to attack enemies, triggering once when Fortress HP is below 85% and 55% respectively. Has a certain range and certain damage and everything. So when the Fortress reaches some certain points of HP, it will launch a Rocket Fist, which will deal a lot of damage in an area that is kind of big. So it will be able to basically one-shot a lot of these steel bolts if the HP drops low enough. So let's pick that up and see if that happens. It's also very fun to look at. And now I still have 200 credits left. Let's just buy some more crawlers, some more chaff. Basically distracting small units that just come in over time and that my opponent's units lock onto and get distracted by, instead of attacking my good targets, which would be the Vulcan or the Fortress or something. All my high damage dealers, for example. And yeah, also let's just use the mobile beacon just because to actually see what this does. Let's move all of these over to the right side. Not necessarily a good move, but just so you can see what happens. And yeah, orbital bombardment coming down, taking down a lot of the small units. Fortress might be too far in the back to actually take enough damage to use the tag here. Let's see. It might be too strong already. That it's not going to take the damage for the rocket punch to trigger. On the left, the tower is now going down, and this is the tower debuff that I'm talking about. This unit now, it's kind of hard to see because of the glow from the rocket fist, and that was the rocket fist. But it was debuffed from the tower, it just wore off. And now the other tower again. This tower debuff. So this kind of crackling electricity, red electricity effect. It's a bit hard to see on this fortress. But that indicates the tower debuff. And that was the rocket fist just pumping and blasting all those sledgehammers and everything. And yeah, it's level 2 and it can get leveled again, by the way, because it's taking out just so many units and getting so much XP. It's very healthy, it has a lot of damage, it's just very strong here. And Missile Strike is an active. Shield Device Specialist makes my shields better. These shields here, the shield generators, I can show you in a moment. Senior Attack Specialist just gives more attack for all units, and Amplifying Core is an item that you can equip on a unit. Increases attack and HP by 75%, which is quite a bit, especially if you put it on something fat like this leveled fortress. So this fortress all of a sudden does have 125,000 HP and 24,000 attack, and I can even level it again, and it's even fatter now. And as you can see, level 3 is orange. That's the standard color of level 3 and higher leveled units. Let me show you the shield generator here. You can just place a barrier wherever on your side of the battlefield, so only in this lit up area. For example, here. Boop. And now there's a barrier around all of these units. All of the units that are inside of it are protected, and the barrier will take all the damage. And it has 40,000 HP, so it will tank 40,000 damage. And these two units here, by the way, these two arc lights are in my flank. So this side is my flank, and this side is my flank as well, and these are the opponent's flanks. And let me also place some units in there so you can see what happens. So for example, let's put some crawlers and an arc light. Put an arc light here. Put some crawlers here. And as you can see though, they are blue-ish. And that means they are still getting warped in this turn. So it will take, as I said, I'm not sure about the exact number, like also 7 seconds or something, for them to spawn in. And during that time, they don't do anything. They just can get attacked, but cannot attack themselves. So, but that is only for the turn that you place them into the flank. So starting the turn after, they will already be spawned in. But okay, so much for this. Also, since my opponent has all these units so clumped up here, let's place a sentry here, which will attack and get a lot of damage in on these units here. And these can get leveled again by the yellow arrow here. Leveling is oftentimes good on all your units that are not chaff. Most of the time, this is a rule of thumb, of course. You will get, with more experience, you will be able to make better decisions, but overall, leveling your units is good unless it's chaff, let's say. And chaff are crawlers again, or fangs, mainly. So these crawlers, it doesn't matter how much HP and damage they have, they are just there to soak up some shots from all the units. So I don't want to level my crawlers. However, leveling the marksman here just gives them double damage, for example, for half the cost. So buying a new marksman would cost 100 for the same stat increase, basically. Or I can level this for 50 and yeah, double the stats. So ideally, leveling is efficient, is very efficient, is double as efficient as buying a new unit of that type. So let's level units where we can, other than the chaff units. And also, let's just do it this turn. I get the permanent upgrades to attack plus 10% for all my units and HP plus 15% to all my units. These are now there until the end of this match. And yeah, let's go and let's see what the flank here does. Let's have a look at the flank here. So it is spawning in now. Still not doing anything, still not doing anything. They also start with lower HP and their HP also forms basically. But yeah, now they are formed in, spawned in and are getting in. Didn't really do much because of this melting point here. And yeah, losing pretty much everywhere except on the right, where I do have my level 3 fortress with amplifying core because it's so big. But I definitely need to work some more on the chaff clear as well. Fangs alive until the very end. Should not really be the case. Let's speed this up. Going to lose this round. Again, tower debuff by the way, but it's wearing off now. Fortress is really strong though. Did take out most of the other units though. Okay, Nuke here is an active. One of the strongest actives, I guess, but it's also very expensive. Costs 350 credits. Also, I did not mention this yet, it's quite important. If you don't like any of the choices, you can skip. And if you skip, you gain 50 extra credits. So, especially earlier, it happens quite often that you don't get something that's very useful to you and then you want to skip just to gain the 50 extra and also not to spend any money on anything that you don't really need. But in this case, though, all are kind of interesting. Nuke, just a temporary active that could help out. Deployment Specialist gives me 3 units to deploy every turn instead of 2. Senior Defense, HP increased by 30%, or Senior Attack, which increases attack by 30%. So yeah, all quite interesting and all quite good. Let me show you the Nuke, I guess. So let's pick the Nuke, put it here. The Nuke takes a while though, in 15 seconds. So it takes 15 seconds for it to come down here, which is a while. And this fortress can get leveled again. Level 4 now. Has more and more HP and attack. And let me show you another tech here maybe. The Incendiary Bomb on the Vulcan, which launches incendiary bombs every 16 seconds to ignite the ground beneath the enemy's feet. Incendiary bombs have a max range of 180 meters and a minimum range of 40 meters. Okay, let's pick this and also buy another Vulcan on the left side here. Or in the middle rather. Something like this maybe. There will be fire on the ground in a bit here, and fire on the ground is very good against small squishy units like tanks, for example. We will see this here in a moment. And yeah. Don't have any credits left. You can still unlock a unit every turn, of course, and I have not unlocked the Fang, and Fang is for free, so I should unlock it. Why not? And yeah, that's my turn and deployment. Let's go. Opponent did also pick the Nuke here. And these are the incendiary bombs now coming down. And now there's fire on the ground, which is very good against the Fangs. Fangs dying super quickly once they are in the fire. Both nukes coming down, a lot of damage, but my fortress has so much HP that it's not dying to the nuke, like whatsoever. Only took out this much health. Fortress has so much HP here. Opponent does have a melting point though, and melting points are the giant killers. They have a beam attack which ramps up over time and can deal insane amounts of damage when it gets enough time to lock on and ramp up the damage. So in this case it will not be able to win against my fortress because it still has rocket punch, but melting points are usually the counter, basically, to something like a fortress, especially once it's so leveled and everything. Okay, more range for sledgehammers. Underground threat is an active where crawlers come down or come out of the ground. Photon emission gives my units in a certain area photon coating, and photon coating means they take 50% reduced damage for 16 seconds and are immune to a couple of effects like Ignite, EMP, Acid, all that. Or Speed Specialist, just passively 3 more movement speed for all my units. Let's pick up Speed Specialist, just so my units can get to where they need to be quicker, especially my fortress, I guess. Alright, now what? Let's also unlock a new unit, just to show them off. And again, I'm Giant Specialist, so I can unlock all the giants here for free. Let's also pick up a melting point and put it here. And I'm also getting the range enhancement tag on the melting point. So now the melting point does have 40 additional range. This circle here indicates the range of the unit. Let's pick up another one because I can. And yeah, as I said, melting points mainly good against big units, like for example other melting points or fortresses or vulcans. Yeah, just other giants or other units that are just way too high level or something that have way too much HP. Usually the answer can be melting points to those. And with my remaining credits, let's level the sledgehammers and level the marksman and level the other marksman. And I don't have any credits anymore, but also I do not want to level the crawlers because once again they are chaff and I don't care about leveling those because it does not really do much. They are just there to distract basically anyways, so it's fine. My opponent puts an overlord here in the flank, but it's getting locked onto by my melting point right away. And yeah, the melting point takes them down super quickly. And again, melting point here, locking onto this Vulcan, ramping up, and Vulcan also goes down so quickly over time. Once the damage is ramped up. And yeah, my melting point locking onto the opponent's melting point, which is level 2, but it's going down so quickly as well. And yeah. This is, by the way, why I picked up the range enhancement on the melting point. It's quite important to outrange your opponent's melting points if you are playing melting point versus melting point. Just in general, by the way, this is a general rule of thumb. If you are in some sort of range war, which is quite often, getting the range tags on the units is oftentimes very crucial. Also goes for if you end up in a marksman versus marksman match or something, you want to pick up the range enhancement quickly so your marksman can kill your opponent's marksman before your opponent's marksman even can shoot. Alright, a junior manufacturing specialist decreases the recruitment cost of non-giant units by 50, assault Vulcan, increases Vulcan's HP and movement speed, but decreases range. Senior manufacturing decreases the recruitment cost of giant units by 50. Or tank production line can be equipped with an item. Produces 2 sledgehammer tanks every 13 seconds. Since I'm giant specialist and I already have giants unlocked and everything, let's pick senior manufacturing specialist. So now I can buy giants for 350 here instead of for 400. And let's also unlock the other one here, the Overlord, just because. Pick up 2 more giants, 2 Overlords, put them here and here, I guess. And let's pick up Photon Emission. Photon Emission does give the units around it Photon Coating, and Photon Coating decreases damage taken by 50% for 16 seconds. Let's just continue this and finish this game here. Let's level the sledgehammers and the melting points. Let's go. Yeah, doing quite well now. Vulcans and the fire and everything, taking down all the chaff, all the fangs on the opponent's side very quickly. And I do have very strong damage against everything else that's still alive with my melting points and my fortresses. And that is actually enough damage. So, by the way, damage to the health here, I did not explain. Every unit that stays alive at the end of the round will deal damage, and they deal damage as much as their base cost, basically, except there's one exception. But melting points, for example, buying a level 1 melting point costs 400, and 400 is the damage that they deal to the opponent when they are alive. And that's independent of level, by the way. Level 2 melting point also deals 400 damage. 1 pack of sledgehammers. If all the sledgehammers are alive, it deals 200 damage, because one level 1 sledgehammer pack costs 200 to buy. A marksman deals 100 damage, because again, a level 1 marksman costs 100 to buy, and so on. The one exception is the Supergiant, the War Factory, that I didn't buy this time. It costs 800 to buy and only deals 600 damage when it survives. But yeah, that's the exception. Alright, so much for this. Let's get back into the menu here. I'm getting some XP here after each completed battle. Can be against AI, but also, of course, if you are in a proper match against other players, you get XP and you level up. And when you level up, on your first couple of levels, you will get tech points. Okay, let's get into this. This tab up here, Unit Modification. Here you can see all the units that are in the game, and if you click on one, you get into this menu here. And on the right here you can see tags, and these are the 4 tags that I have equipped on the crawler unit here at this moment. There's another tag here that I don't even have unlocked yet, so this means it's still locked here on the right, and it costs 1 tag point to unlock. And yeah, as I said, when you level up, when you just play, you get tech points over time and you can unlock all the tags. So let's just click on this. And do you want to spend 1 tech point to unlock this tag? Yes. Okay, now I have it unlocked and now I can equip it if I want to. But there are only 4 slots, so I need to take out one of the other 4 tags. Just click on this and now I have a free slot, and now I can click on this and now I have it equipped. And these are the potential tags that I can buy during battle. So yeah, when I was in battle just now and I clicked on a unit, there were 4 possible tags on each unit, and then you can buy any one of those. But you need to decide this loadout before the battle. So you do this basically once. You can mess around with all of these, but whatever you decide on, you will have for your next match. You cannot change these loadouts during a match. Also, here on the left side, you can see all the base stats if you're interested, once again, like HP, price, speed, attack, and all that stuff. But for the main purpose of this entire menu here is to equip the tags that you want on those units. This is way too much to go into the tags of all the units. I might do another video on this in the future if you are interested. But for now, just so you know, this is where you can see the units and equip the tags. And you probably just want to unlock all of them over time and equip each one and just test it out for yourself, what you like, what you don't like. Or also just pay attention to what your opponent does, for example. You can also learn from that. If you get completely stomped by your opponent because they are doing something specific with a specific tag on a unit, you might want to try it out yourself and see how it's going. And yeah, just test out the tags for yourself. To finish this, let's go through the other tabs up here real quick. There are also tournaments in this game, in-game tournaments. So if you have a little bit of experience, you might want to jump just in and have some fun in a tournament. You will be matched against other players your skill level, at least if you play on Wednesdays. On Saturdays, it's usually one big group, and there are all kinds of skill levels thrown together. But if you play on Wednesdays, you play against other players with your experience, basically, more or less. So there are tournaments on Wednesdays and tournaments on Saturdays. Then there's a replay system. After every match, you get the choice to save a replay, but you need to actually click it. So there's a button that says save replay. And yeah, here you can just, this is a list of replays, and you can just click watch replay and have another look at that. And there's also a store here if you care about cosmetics and all. There are some newly added skins for the units. These actually cost real money. but there are also cosmetics in this store. You just get credits for this over time by just playing, and also passively from this by waiting, and then you can just buy some emotes or avatars, avatar frames, whatever, if you care about any of this stuff. And yeah, so much for this. This was my Mechabellum absolutely beginner guide. So obviously there's a ton more to this game and a ton more to learn, but a lot of it just comes with experience, and I urge you to just play, to be honest. Also, spectating other players can really help. So either you can spectate players here in game, high ranked players, see what they are doing, or obviously I have a ton of videos on my YouTube channel highlighting some matches and giving some commentary, oftentimes on why certain things are being done the way they are done as well, and you can gain some insight from that as well. I might do another video on tech loadouts and everything, and also a big thing about this game are counters and unit counters, also positioning. There are a ton of things you can learn about this game and that there are to learn about this game, and I did not want to put it all in one video. It's just way too much information. I already think this one is a bit overload, so I will probably do 1, 2, 3 more videos about the basics here. And yeah, if you're interested, let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care. Bye.